Hi everyone, in this video let us see how we can deploy a Azure agent framework using the fast API backend, and we will deploy to Azure Container App. Let us get started. So I'm going to use Gradio app for the front end. I'll be hosting in the Hugging Face spaces, and our final app will be able to make use of the Frankfurter API. So it is a free API, you can go check it out. I'm going to use this as a tool to my agent. So the Azure framework, agent framework is kind of semantic kernel plus the autogen. So I'm going to use this as a tool, and we'll be hosting using the fast API inside the container app, and we will make use of the Azure Foundry. There we will deploy it as an agent. So Azure recently announced this agent services. We are going to use that, and we will create a Azure OpenAI GPT-4 mining model. And for observability, we'll make use of the application insights and log analytics platform. Right? Perfect. Let's get started. Yeah. Then there we go. We have our app here. So we are going to import few packages necessary for our development. We have the agent framework, and that imports classes and functions, and we'll be using the fast API as I mentioned, and we will use the OpenTelemetry to instrument the logs and necessary details to the application sites. So here we have a prompt and the variables. Let me come from the routes. So we are using the UVCAN to host it, main, and then inside the main we have the app. So here we have our fast API app. So we are defining the startup life cycle, and at startup we will create the runtime startup and the at shutdown. When our app gets closed, we will close all the connection. So that's the idea. So let us see what's happening in the startup. So at startup we are going to create a check. This Azure AI has a project, like we are going to check, like, do we need to create a new agent, like we can use the old agent. So if there is an existing agent, we will be utilizing the same existing one. If we don't have an existing agent, like for example we are going to stop and run, and then there's already agent deployed, right? So only for the first time we are going to deploy an agent. Then after that we'll again use the same agent, right? So if it's the first time, we'll be creating a new agent. Perfect. And then here we have our shutdown function. So at shutdown we are going to exit the so a underscore, so it's a magic function, so it's kind of the asynchronous exit, so it closes the connections. So right, so like ideally we are going to close the connections or whatever is left out, right? And then that we have our main function, that's run. So to run, we are going to look for the thread. So thread, uh, if you have already used the LangChain, it is the similar concept. So the thread will be used as a temporary memory, or like it's a short time memory, right? And then we are going to pass all the details to our agent.run. So it is from the library itself, and then we are going to extract the results, and we're going to return it. So it's very simple. We are going to define the agents. So that has a tool. There's a get exchange rate. So get exchange rate is a function technically. So if you look at here, there we go. So here we have the currency from to and the date. So usually we'll use using the latest. So if sometimes the user mentioned what the day price on this date, the API supports that as well, right? So we're going to use the request library to fetch the data, and yeah, pretty much that's it. So there we go. There we have our first API server that has a agent framework and the tools attached to it. Perfect. So let's see how we are going to utilize it in the Azure. So for simplicity, I'm going to use the infrastructure as code. If you are new to this infrastructure as code, so it's kind of, I'm going to write something and it will do my work. So for example, I need not go to the portal itself. So that we have our resource groups. You can see few resource groups in my Azure subscription. I'm going to create new resource groups for now. Perfect. So now we have our yeah, YAML file here. So as I mentioned, so this is going to create the thing for me, right? And so if you look at it, we have the hook. So hook is like I'm going to do something after the provision. So after creating the resources, I'm going to deploy the model. So if you look at the deployment.sh in the infra hooks, so it is an Azure CLI command that's going to create a model, and I'm going to use the bicep. Bicep is similar to the Terraform, so if you're into the Azure family, you would have been familiar with it. So it is pretty much simple. So I'm going to just going to define the variables, and I'm going to define whatever the resource I need. You can simply copy paste all this from the Microsoft site itself. So it's a pretty much easy. I'm not going to go through each of this in this video. Okay, so I have the parameters here. I have the main bicep, and I have the AI bicep. So like, just define what are the things that needs to be created in terms of the AI project, and the role assignment. It is very crucial. So you need to be aware like of assigning the least enough role for the particular privilege. So it should not exceed what it has to be done, right? So yeah, so there we go, and let us get started. So to get started, you should have the Azure Developer CLI in your command line. So have it already installed it. So you can just go and log in. So for that you can just tell is it auth login. So it will navigate you through a browser that you can just log into your account. All right, I'm already logged in, so I'm not going to do that. Let us quickly create the namespaces. So let us create a new environment. I'm going to create a current here. So something has happened in my file system. You notice .azure has been created, so it is not, so it should not be pushed into the GitHub. So remember, you just add it to your gitignore file. Perfect. So there we have our agent, and there we have our environment. Perfect. Then let us create some variables. So there we have our uh, AI model. So I'm going to define the model as GPT-4 mini. So it has been updated here, and then I'm going to define the location. I'm going to define the location now. So near the east US, so I will define my nearest region for now. So you can define whatever is best with you. So only these three is enough. These are default. Yeah, then after defining them, you can simply say AZT up. So it's a magic command. So everything is going to happen in the background for you. I'm just going to select the subscription. Perfect. Selected. I'm going to create a new resource group, and so it's going to follow the suffix and the prefix rules that I already set in the bicep file. Perfect. The Docker is being built for me. Let's have some coffee in the meantime. Perfect. So here we have our deployment done. So it says we can view the progress here, right? Perfect. So it says deployment is complete, and there is no warning or no error. That's good sign. So let's see the deployment here. So perfect. Now let's see what is the status. So here we have our health route. So it will say okay. Yeah, perfect. It's working. Awesome. So let's ask something. So let's ask how much is 100 USD in currency today. So it is SEK, and let's wait for some time. Yeah, perfect. It says it's around 948. Okay, okay, that's pretty much the same. Okay. All right. Perfect. Now we have our working API here. Now I'm just going to copy this, right? And I'm just going to go to my hacking phase and update this. I'm going to replace the value with the updated one. Perfect. It's going to restart for me. Perfect. That we have our app running here. So I'm just going to ask how much the 100 USD in euro. So I'm just giving it a simple task just to understand. Okay, it's around 83.86.31. Perfect. It's working as they expected. So that's it. See you then again on another Azure video. Bye for now.